Ms. Harrison, you and your sisters have been haunted by rumors of family secrets for more than 30 years. You say the defendant claims your father had an affair with her mother and therefore is your biological sister.
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
Now, you've requested results of a siblingship DNA test to prove she's lying.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Rogers, you argue that you do not doubt for a single moment that Ms. Harrison's father is, in fact, your dad.
Yes, Your Honor.
Today, you contend you'll prove to Ms. Harrison that you are sisters beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Harrison, why are you convinced Ms. Rogers is not your sister?
Well, over the years, her mother has denied the rumors. Her mother denied even having an affair with our father. And her mother and my mother were best friends. And when I was 16 years old, my father died. And her mother was confronted by my mother's sisters. And even then, she denied even having a relationship with our father. And I just don't believe that she is my sibling.
They are in denial, Your Honor.
Your mom was always in denial of what she whether she did it or not, we don't know.
That's a lie.
What's a lie?
What's a lie is my mother, yes, she denied the fact that to you guys, but she did that because she did not want to hurt y'all.
Okay, but guess what? I'm not worried about being hurt or whatever.
She hurted
We're
me.
not, okay, but you're taking your hurt, the hurt that your mother caused you out on us.
How is I'm taking it out on you?
I mean, because you're saying all of this stuff, you know, and like I said, over the years.
How am I taking the hurt out
Your
on
Honor,
you?
we were raised
when all I want to do is
this is what I want to understand. You all obviously have a long history.
We have a long history.
And so you grew up together.
We grew up together.
We grew up as cousins.
As far as I can remember, we were always in one another's lives. We grew up as cousins, even though we were not blood relatives.
But since your mothers were best friends, we were all close.
We spent holidays together. We, you know, did different things together. And because my mom and her mom were best friends, I guess my mom just couldn't believe that her best friend would do something like that to her.
But she did,
Well, it says a lot about your mom. Well, it says a lot about your mom because if your mom is making allegations that she's my mom's best friend, like a sister to her, why would she do that?
But you know what? I can't speak for my mom because my mother is not here.
But you are now because you're saying,
I'm speaking
and
for
you're trying to
myself.
All right, ladies,
I'm
here for myself.
Ladies, I want to understand your story, but I have to be able to hear them. And if you're talking at the same time, I cannot understand.
Okay.
So, Ms. Rogers, what makes you believe that her father is your father? Because you seem very confident.
Because he told me so.
He told you?
He told me so.
Okay, that's just another rumor. Did you see anything on a birth certificate?
No,
he
was on my birth certificate.
Okay,
he told
that says
me
it all right.
What did he tell you?
He told me that I was his child. He called me, he said daddy to me when I was 8 years old when I broke my arm. And then when I had my surgery, he also brought me a pink hippopotamus to the hospital for me to get everybody to sign. And he also stated at that time.
Okay, he always did a lot of nice things for you guys because he tried to play the father figure.
Well, he wasn't
because
just
there was none in your life.
In my
you had
life,
no father figure. None of you guys had a father figure in your life. He was just trying to be nice. That doesn't make him your father.
He told me at the age of 14, he picked me up from school just before he died and took me to Watts Cafeteria in our hometown. And I remember what I ate, I remember what he ate. And he told me that I was going to have to help my mother.
First of all, you were in 14 when he died because I just turned 16 and you hadn't even had a birthday yet.
And then he had turned around and told me no matter what my mother or anybody says, that he is my father.
So now
That's what he told me. So if I'm lying behind a dead man.
Okay.
He told me he is my father, and I will face
the only thing that's what we're here to prove. I mean,
wait, Ms. Rogers, what I'm trying to understand is if this man told you, I'm your father, and he referred to himself as daddy to you, what did you call this man when you were around Miss Harrison and her family? Because
Uncle Fess.
So you called him your uncle.
What I was told to call him. When my deceased sister, Yvette, was still living.
Yvette is not your sister. Let's get that straight.
Yes, she is.
She is not your sister.
I have proof right here.
She is not your sister.
I have proof right here, Your Honor, how me and her look so much alike.
Looks can
not
be,
just
you don't even look like her.
Let me see this evidence.
You don't
Not
even look
just
like her.
looks.
Looks can be deceiving.
So, ladies, I'd like to understand what this piece of evidence represents. Who is this a picture of?
This is a picture
of our sister. Our sister.
Yvette,
She's deceased. She was
and
right up
that's a
under. She's 4
picture
years
me.
younger than I was.
And your
Because
evidence.
she accepted me before she died.
No,
and she
did.
accepted
Yes,
you
she
before
was
died.
Still undecided.
Yes,
She was on.
did.
She was.
She accepted
Your
me
Honor,
before
may
she
I?
died.
And so
We
ultimately,
took a DNA
this evidence.
test and she kept it private.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. Why would you get the DNA test with just the one sister?
It was not my idea.
It wasn't your idea.
No, it was Yvette's idea
And so, what were the results?
that we were siblings.
That you were siblings.
Yes.
Did you ever receive any paperwork that you were able to bring to
she
court?
got the paperwork
Both parties
sent to
receive
her.
the paperwork.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anytime there's a DNA test ran, both parties get paperwork.
Your Honor, I had just lost my leg and I didn't have a permanent place to stay. So she had it delivered to her house and she contacted me.
So, Ms. Harrison, did you ever hear any of this?
This
that
is
this
the
was
first
happening?
time about
No.
hearing about this test. And like I said, Yvette and I, all of us, we were real close.
real
And
close.
if she would have done something like that, she would have let us know. She would have.
All right. So you said you believe your father was just trying to be nice to her.
Yes, Your
And
Honor.
because she didn't have a father figure or father in the home, you think maybe his way of just trying to be there for her was to say, don't worry about anything, I'm your daddy.
He is her godfather, and maybe she took
That's
that
the
as
reason
being a
they
father.
were my godfather and godmother. It's because they was hiding the secret.
Well, my
My
mom, she was your godmother.
She had agreed to be
your.
hide a secret because she had no idea.
She had no idea.
So how
What
was
you
she
mean
lying?
she had no idea?
She didn't.
She didn't have no idea.
It was unbelievable to her that her best friend and her husband
Yes, she
would
even
go
told me
behind her
herself
back
that-
and do something like that.
Yeah, she didn't believe.
My
she
mama
did not
helped
believe it.
out. My
How your
mom
mama
used to
helped us?
give
Y'all
him
were- y'all
money.
were in a worse
My
position
mom
than
used
what
to
we
give
were in.
him money
Okay,
to help out
ladies,
and everything.
I trust me, I know how important this is to
And
all
it
of you.
hurts me because I had to live with this secret and live with it and not be able to
But why
talk
wait
to
this
them.
long?
Why wait this
be
long?
treated ugly by her.
When have I ever treated you ugly?
You did
Never.
when I stayed on Elgin Street. We lived by
Miss
each
Rogers,
other.
I've never treated you
When
ugly.
we lived by
because
And you
each other
say,
on
Miss
Elgin
Rogers,
Street.
this secret was a lot for you to bear as a
Yes,
young girl.
I bared
As a young girl,
it a
but
lot.
you're an
I had
adult.
to
You
bear
was an
it.
adult,
now.
you know why
I
did
had
you
to
have
Why
to
bear
at 8
hold
years
a
old
secret?
somebody would trust an 8-year-old child with that kind of secret?
For a grown man to say, I'm going to give an 8-year-old this type of information, and I'm going to trust that she not say anything at all, that is hard to believe.
When he was at our house, I was daddy's girl.
Now that's not true.
When
I
he
am
was
my
at their
daddy's
house,
baby.
Michelle was the baby.
I am the baby, and I was the baby. As far as I remember, we were around each other. We done things, but it wasn't like he was always
Ma'am,
up.
please stand up and
I'm Gloria Wilridge,
And please step to the podium.
I am Ellis James Wilridge, youngest daughter.
Okay.
And I can also remember when I was younger, my dad took me to the store, and they had some bubble gum in a tube, and I asked him for it, and he said yes, and he was like, get 2 more tubes for your sisters. Well, I'm thinking we're gonna go home, and he's gonna give it to my sisters, but instead, we went to Tammy's house and her siblings, and he gave it to her. So, like I said, we were young, we were kids, so we didn't put 2 and 2 together until we was adults, and it started becoming questionable and things.
So, Ms. Rogers, let me ask you, have you ever, or did you ever, just ask your mother, is that my father?
Yes.
And what did she say?
She told me no. And she got very upset with me at the age of 36. Me and my mother had a long talk, the last long talk we had. And she still denied it. But the way she acted, you know, the crying in her emotions, when I told her what he told me, that made it even more believable inside of me that he was telling the truth.
So she basically took this denial, this answer of no,
She
he's
was
not your father,
ashamed.
to her grave.
She was ashamed. You know, who wouldn't be?
But she couldn't
as
be too
good as
ashamed
her
because
mother was to
over
us.
the years she still hung
You know,
out at
as
our house
good
with
as
our
her
mother,
mother
pretending to
was
be
to us.
As if nothing
You know
was
what
pretending
I'm
to be
wrong.
her
saying?
friend. She
Her
wasn't
mother
too
was-
ashamed. She
They
wasn't too
didn't
ashamed.
talk to each
All
other
All right,
anymore.
so I'd like to hear from the next witness, from Ms. Harrison. Please stand, ma'am.
Yes.
And state your name.
Danette McMahon.
You are Ms. Harrison and Ms. Wilridge's
Wilridge's
sister.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
please step over to the podium with them. So did you grow up knowing Ms. Rogers to be your cousin as well?
Yes.
But did
and-
you also hear the rumors?
Yes, I've heard the rumors. Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Rogers, you have to understand that it's very hard for them to have to think about or even process the fact that their father may have had an affair, much less had one with their mother's best friend, which they
And it's-
considered to be their aunt.
We seen them through the peephole in our bedroom.
Who did?
But that,
I mean, we
but
don't
that
talk
still
about
doesn't
that,
make him.
you know.
That still
They were
doesn't
in
make
the
him your
bed.
father.
Hold on. I need to hear this story. Ms. Rogers, who's we and
me
who did you
my
see
little
through a
sister,
peephole?
Me and my sister, Glenda,
Okay, that.
Saw.
my mom, and at the time that we called them Uncle Fats, in the bed together.
Okay. And
Not
I don't
one
deny
time,
We don't
but
deny
several
that.
times,
We
'cause he used
know.
to
We
spend
knew.
But
nights
that, guess
with
what?
us.
That
We
doesn't
know
make
stepping
him
out.
her father just
Stepping
because
out,
they
but-
were sleeping together.
Well,
Oh, so
what
you
makes
all
him
don't-
my father?
Yes.
What makes him
Yes.
my
I
father
can-
is because he said he was my father.
But he just said it. There's no solid proof. But yeah, he didn't have
But wait a minute, when she said her
No,
story
he
and
didn't
she
have to be.
said,
He
wait a
was
minute,
the
Miss Rogers,
father.
when you said, we saw your father and my mother through the peephole in the bed together, all three of you reacted like, yeah, okay.
Because we're saying,
You know,
But what I'm saying,
as we got older, we started saying, yeah, it's a
find out.
possibility. Because anytime
right, so
a
if
man
there's
and
a
woman are spending
possibility
much
that
time
it's
together,
true
that
that they were in the bed together, isn't it also true that there's a possibility that he's her
But
father?
them in the bed
Possibility.
together
It's a possibility.
doesn't necessarily make him the father.
Yeah,
and
no,
what
no,
we're
my
saying
father
is,
It is
in the
not.
we don't know.
It's
You
gonna
know,
prove it
because
today.
she's telling us what he said.
All right. So as you stand before me, all four of you believe Mr. Wilridge is your biological father.
Yes.
Yes.
We know for
We know
sure.
for sure.
We know
We
for sure that he's
our dad.
Yeah.
We know for sure.
What
there's
she's
no
saying is
question. We
hearsay.
know
It's
our
so
dad and our
say.
mom
So
is.
I look just like my
all four
father.
of you.
Laugh after the DNA is read.
That's what
Your
I'm
Honor,
waiting on.
Your Honor,
he
I
is
look
my
just
father.
like my father.
Why would he lie
Out of
to
all
me?
four girls, I look just like my father.
Yes, you do.
And if you were a sibling, you would look like me, but you don't. I mean, I know
don't have
genes.
to
I know
look
genes
like
can
you.
go either way, but I feel like you can
don't
tell we're
have to look
sisters, but we
like
have.
you.
Okay,
our-
ladies, I think it's time for the results.
I'm
Let's
ready.
get them.
I'm ready.
Let's get the truth. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. To be clear, because we're trying to determine whether or not Mr. Wilridge was all of your father, the test that we administered is for half siblingship. You understand?
Yes.
So, if it is determined he is your father, that would make you half sisters. In the case of Harrison, McMahon, Wilridge versus Rogers, pertaining to whether Ms. Rogers is the biological half-sister of Ms. Harrison, Ms. McMahon, and Ms. Wilridge, it has been determined that you are indeed half-sisters.
I mean, I just wanted to know.
We just want to know the truth.
That's fine.
That's fine with us. We just wanted the rumors to stop.
I mean, that's fine. I just wanted to know the answer. You know, that's all I wanted. Now I know, and there's no more doubts in my mind. You know, and I don't feel hurt or pain. The only person I feel hurt and pain for is my mom. The only person I was
concerned for was our mom.
was my mom.
No woman deserves that. And I know you hurt for your mother. No woman wants to be cheated on, especially by her husband and her best friend. And yet, put yourself in the shoes of this innocent young woman.
We were innocent too.
And yes, you were. However, you grew up with your mother and your father. So all I'm saying is love and compassion.
We want that.
Yes, love and compassion is the answer here. Good luck to you all. Court is adjourned. Mr. Ross, you say your estranged wife is denying that you are the father of her 15-month-old son, Damon. She claims the man she's currently living with is her son's biological father, but you hope today's DNA results will help you save and reunite your family. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Nañez, you believe today's results will prove what you already know, that your husband is not the father of your son, and after the DNA results, you want him to move on. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Ross, why are you so positive that you're Damon's father?
Today, I'm here, Judge, because my wife, Taryn, denies me my son, Damon. I know he's my son. We're married. We've been separated. After today, I really hope that this will help reunite our family.
And Ms. Nañez, you say the baby's not your husband's.
No, we've been separated for 3 years, and it's not. I'm 100% sure that it's Natavius's.
All right. So you were married. You were happily married.
Yes, Your Honor.
For how long before things got rocky?
2, maybe 3 months, and then everything.
Oh, 2-3 months.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So after 2 or 3 months of being married, things got rocky.
Yes, after I had our first child, I was never in the mood, never wanted sex, and I kept on telling him that he should just sleep with somebody else, since he was always complaining that I wouldn't give it up to him since I was his wife and it was my wifely duties to do so.
Oh. So you're saying after having your child, your first child, you were not feeling being very sexually active?
Yes.
And so you basically told him, just go have sex with somebody else?
Yes.
Did you do that?
I tried, but never did.
So you didn't. So how does the marriage get on the outs so that you end up separated?
He asked my best friend to have sex with him, and she told me.
Did you ask your wife's best friend to have sex with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Ross! And what does she say?
She said, yeah. She came over and then...
And then did you try to have sex with her?
Tried, but nothing ever happened.
And so once you heard that, you were done?
Yes.
Because you told him to go have sex with somebody else, but I don't mean my best friend. How long had you been separated before you found out you were pregnant with Damon?
3 years.
2 years. I took her to the appointment.
During that separation, were you still intimate?
Yes, Your Honor, we were.
All right, so you were still having sex throughout the separation?
Yes.
All right. And so at the time you found out you were pregnant, were you sleeping with anybody else at that time?
Yes.
Who was that?
Natavius.
All right, and that's Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
So you believe that's who Damon's father is?
Yes.
But you let Mr. Ross take you to the hospital?
Natavius was at work that morning, and I let him go to work because I didn't want him to lose his job.
So when you found out you were pregnant, who did you tell?
I told both of them.
All right. You told both men, I'm pregnant, and both of you could be the father.
Yes.
Did both of them accept that fact, or did they say, no, I'm not the father?
They both accepted it.
And so now, Mr. Ross, when you find out that Miss Nañez is pregnant, your wife, and you know she's having sex with another man at that time?
No, I did not know she was having sex with Nañez at that time.
So he thinks you're gonna work it out, and you say, no, you with somebody else.
Yes.
Are you cheating on your boyfriend with your husband?
How
does that work?
She puts it that it's technically not cheating since we're still married.
Okay. So when you find out your wife is pregnant, how'd you feel?
I felt excited. We were about to have another baby, extend the family, try and, kindle
And
everything.
you think, you're already trying to rekindle the relationship, and now this baby is gonna be the thing that really brings everything back together.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Nañez, you say, I knew from the get-go it wasn't his baby.
Yes.
But how do you know that?
The blood type, really. Nañez is O negative, just like Damon, and Andrew is O positive. And
But
Damon
before
looks
that,
like
when you
that.
were just finding out you were pregnant, you say you told both of them.
Yes.
So is it safe to say that you didn't know and you thought it could be either one?
Yes.
Okay. So throughout the time you were pregnant, who went to the doctor's appointments with you?
Andrew did.
Mr. Ross, your husband.
Yes.
You went to all the doctor's appointments.
Not all the doctor's appointments. There's times that I did ask to go, but Nañez went instead.
Oh. I'm still confused as to how you've come to the conclusion that it's Mr. Anderson's baby. Can you take me back to the night when you say you conceived?
Somewhere around my birthday.
Okay. Tell me what happened.
I had sex on my birthday with both of them.
With both men?
Yes.
At the same time?
No, not at the same time.
No.
No.
Who did you have sex with first?
Andrew.
Mr. Ross, your husband?
Yes. And later in the night, I had sex with Nañez later, more than once.
So then in the morning you had sex with your husband, and then later on in the afternoon, the evening, you were with Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
On your birthday?
Yes.
So if that's the case, how do we ever decide who's the child's father, because you slept with both men in the same day? Unprotected?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you basically got you a double feature that day.
Yes, Your Honor, she did.
So the truth is, you really don't know. So can you take me to the day Damon was born? Mr. Ross, you were there?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, so you at the hospital?
I was the one that took her to the hospital.
All right, so the day Damon was born, you go to the hospital, husband and wife pull up, go in, you all about to have a baby.
Yes, Your Honor.
Who else was there?
Nañez showed up 30 minutes before she...
Mr. Anderson came?
Yes.
Who went in the delivery room?
We both was in the delivery room.
Jerome, have you ever heard of such?
How many cases have we done?
Almost 1,000.
This is a first.
The first. Both of you all went in the delivery room.
Yes, Your Honor.
Both men went in the delivery room.
Yes, Your Honor.
Both possible fathers were in the delivery room.
Yes, Your Honor.
Who held your hand?
Nañez did.
Nañez.
So Mr. Anderson held your hand,
Yes.
and what were you doing?
I was tending to Ezra.
The other
Yes.
child.
Yes.
And so you invited both men up, or you just...
No, Andrew actually called Nañez for him to come up there.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did you just say your husband called your boyfriend to tell him to come up there so he could be there when the baby was born?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is going on here?
I just called him to let him know that I was taking Taryn to the hospital because she was supposedly in.
But why? It's your wife. It's your wife. You think it's your baby. Why even call?
Because it's the right thing to do. He was there. He's been there, so.
Well, during that time, he also had a girlfriend who
had a girlfriend?
He had a girlfriend.
Oh, so you showing out for your girlfriend. So who signed the birth certificate?
Nañez did.
Now, usually, in this court, we know that when a child is born within a marriage, usually the husband is presumed to be the father.
Correct, Your Honor.
And is the person that gets put on the birth certificate as father.
I wasn't there to waive my rights, so I don't see how he was even able to put his name on there.
What happened? Do you remember? Were you conscious, Ms. Nañez? How did he get to put his name on there when you have a husband?
When doing the paperwork, I quite literally don't remember. I was on a lot of heavy medication, so it's a bit of a blur when doing the birth certificate paperwork.
So you don't really know how the name got on there?
No, he did Nañez did the paperwork. I just signed it.
He sure did.
Yeah.
All right, I have heard a lot of information about Mr. Anderson, Mr. Nañez Anderson, and I want to hear from him for myself. Jerome, please escort Mr. Anderson into the courtroom. He is here.
Yes, sir. Come with me. We're going to have you go right up to the witness stand next to the judge. Watch yourself going up the steps.
Well, thank you for joining us today. Mr. Anderson, can you describe your current relationship with Ms. Nañez?
Yes, Your Honor. As of right now, we are not together.
You're not?
No, ma'am.
Do you believe you're Damon's father?
Yes, Your Honor, I do. Not only do I share a bond with my son, I honestly believe that we look alike and he looks like many different people in my family.
And that's why you believe you're the father?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any other reasons? Has Ms. Nañez told you you're the father?
On separate occasions, there's been a couple of times where she has agreed that Damon is mine.
So the day you were in the hospital, I need to know from you. Do you know she's still sleeping with her husband at that time?
At that time, no.
You didn't know?
No, not at that time.
Oh, so that's why you executed the paperwork, because in your mind, she's separated from her husband. We're together now. I'm the father. I sign.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Anderson, what is your relationship like with Damon? He's 15 months, beautiful little boy. What's your relationship like?
I take care of him every day. We play all throughout the day.
So you are the father figure to Damon?
Yes, Your Honor.
Does Damon call you Dad? Does he say Dad to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Does he say Dad to you too?
Whenever he's around, yes.
So, before I go to the results, Ms. Nañez, do you still believe deeply that Mr. Anderson is Damon's biological father?
Yes, I do.
And why do you believe that?
Damon looks more like his family members than anything.
Do you feel like Mr. Ross is claiming to be the father because he really wants to keep you and keep your marriage and your relationship together?
Yes.
You say yes?
It's been that way since we got together. He's never given us a chance to have a relationship. That's mainly the reason why I called.
Well, because they're still married and they're still sleeping together.
I understand that too, but
She's with another guy right now, too.
You have another boyfriend now, Miss Nañez?
Yes.
You done weaved a web. This is a lot going on.
Yes.
Before I go to these results, is there any possibility that neither man?
No, there's no other possibility other than these two men right here.
All right, Jerome, I'm ready for the results.
Okay. There you go.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Ross versus Nañez, pertaining to whether Mr. Ross or Mr. Anderson is the father of 15-month-old Damon Nañez, it has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Ross. You are the father, Mr. Ross. You were correct.